So I hope all of you can see my screen. Right? Okay, let's get started. This demo session, this training is going to be for Informatica Intelligent Cloud Services, and this is going to be a combination of both cloud data integration and cloud application integration. And let me just give you an overview about IICS. So what does IICS stands for? IICS is Informatica Intelligent Cloud Services, which is also rebranded to Informatica Data Management Cloud. So Informatica Cloud is an on-demand subscription service that provides a complete platform for your cloud integration and data management. And this provides an ability to create and configure your connections. You can create your users, run and schedule your jobs, and also monitor them. So the agenda is going to be like, I'm going to discuss about cloud integration, data integration, and cloud application integration, the components. And we are going to discuss about IPaaS, what this IPaaS stands for, and features of IPaaS. And we will discuss about the architecture. And also I'm going to cover on the runtime, environment, and security, and how to get started. So the components, when I speak about components, what are the components of IICS? IICS components are, you have a runtime environment, we have a cloud secure agent, we have an organization, connections. So we have a lot of other components, but at a high level, I'm just giving you these things. And what is IPaaS? So IPaaS stands for Integration Platform as a Service. So what is Integration Platform as a Service? So when I say integration platform, it's able to integrate a platform as a service. It is going to offer different services, cloud services that would help you to do your development, execution, and governance of your integration workflows, integration flows to connect any combination of your on-premise and your cloud-based process. It can be a different service, an application, or a data within one organization or multiple organizations. And you can access it from any machine with an internet access and web browser. So typically when you access your IICS application, your browser is going to connect to Informatica Cloud Services through a secure HTTP protocol. And the best part about IICS is it offers multiple toggle switch wizards that help you to build and test your integration tasks. And we also have a centralized monitoring capabilities to track the progress and results of your jobs, and pre-configured integration templates for recurring use cases. So to just give you a simple example, right? I'll just bring up a simple notepad. I just want to give a quick comparison. So how many of you are from Power Center background here? Anyone of you are from Power Center background? Informatica Power Center?
Yeah, I have Informatica Power Center background.
Okay. So yeah, so to just give you a quick comparison about the Power Center tool and your Informatica Intelligent Cloud Services. So in Power Center, we call, when we create a mapping, right? You create a mapping. Mapping is like, a set of instructions when you provide a kind of an integration template, when you want to load data from source to target. We also have a mapping in IICS, and we have a session in Power Center, whereas in IICS we have a mapping configuration task. There are a few differences with respect to the terminologies, and in Power Center we have a workflow, which is actually running your sessions, but in IICS we have a task flow. The task flow would execute, and this is an orchestration. It's an orchestration of events. So it's called orchestration framework. An orchestration framework, which would trigger your jobs. So we call them as task flow. So these are the simple differences. I just want to bring it up for Power Center, for people from Power Center background. But even if you're not experienced enough in Power Center, or if you do not have any idea about data integration, or you haven't worked on Informatica, it's absolutely okay, because this is an easy tool to learn, and you just have to understand how do you navigate to different services, how do you work on different connectors, how do you integrate your jobs, and how do you execute them. So this is about IPaaS. Any questions from anyone about IPaaS? Okay. So moving on, let me give a brief overview about architecture. So architecture is very important for you to understand. So how does the architecture looks, right? If you look at this picture, right, there is a now if you look at this is a user who logs in, right? A machine, with an user with an identity access. He logs into a machine with a web browser and with a web client, and all the design and administration functions are performed. And there is a customer managed secure agent, which is typically installed on a Windows or a Linux environment. You have a customer managed secure agent, which is sitting behind the organization's firewall. So the one that you see here, this is the firewall, right? The firewall that is there. Now the organization is holding the data of the specific organization, which is holding the data. It is secure. So when a user logs in, he performs a design and administration, and he, the data gets exchanged to intelligent cloud services through Informatica managed, multi-tenant repositories. So what are multi-tenant repositories? Multi-tenant repositories are repositories which actually based on microservices, and they store your metadata, the metadata of your data that is being exchanged when you perform your design and administration. It's not the actual data. So the metadata gets exchanged to your multi-tenant repositories. So the microservices, you see this picture, right? Where you have multiple microservices. So microservices-based architecture, Informatica hosted cloud repository, and Informatica managed cloud runtime secure agent and process server. There are two things here: Informatica managed cloud runtime secure agent and your local agent. Okay, there are two things here. One is Informatica hosted agent and local secure agent, which is sitting behind your firewall. And even this communicates to your external applications like your Salesforce or Marketo, or your different cloud apps. Okay, so if you look at this picture, this architecture is going to explain about how does the data gets exchanged. Okay, any questions on this? Any questions on this architecture? Okay, so I'll move on to the next slide. The next slide, this is the extension of the architecture again. We have a repository, and if you look at this, this bricks, this is a firewall, right? A firewall, and you have a browser-based machine with your web browser and internet access. So you can perform your administration tasks or design, and you can configuration and maintenance. This is again, it's a the secure agent is something which is a self-upgrading agent of Informatica, where the agent gets automatically upgraded. When they send out some kind of notifications, Informatica sends out communications to the organizations about any major upgrades, so that they can have a blackout period for the scheduled jobs. I'll tell you about blackout later, but this is how a user perspective, right? It's a different picture of your architecture. Okay. Hope all of you are able to understand and correlate this. If you have any questions, please stop me for architecture. Please ask me any questions if you have. Okay. Moving on. So your company, your secure agent, you have your cloud-based applications and platforms. You have your Informatica cloud. So this is how it works, where your secure agent is sitting behind your organization's firewall, and you perform your design administration tasks. And this is one more additional picture of your architecture, where I'm just giving an example of a Salesforce, where you connect to your business data using your HTTPS SOAP connector. You have a metadata, which schema changes. You have an Informatica Cloud Secure Agent with your local files and databases. So you can have your on-prem and your cloud integration that can be done through IICS. So what you need is, you need a browser, you need a machine with web browser, internet access, you need a secure agent, and I'll tell you how to get started when we go to the UI. Any questions on this? Okay, moving on. The components, right? I told you about components, when we have the Informatica Cloud component, cloud, the hosting facility, we have a runtime environment, we have an agent. So we'll know more about this when we go to the UI. But again, I just want to give you a brief understanding about it. So runtime environment. What is a runtime environment? So runtime environment is an inbuilt integration service that would run your cloud tasks. So the cloud agents are responsible for running your tasks configured in Informatica Cloud. So you have an integration service which is inbuilt, secure agent, which is helping you to have your source data loaded to target. And what is an agent? Agent is a program that can run within your network or within Informatica Cloud hosting facility. So you have a secure agent, and we have a secure agent group. I'll tell you about the difference between secure agent and secure agent group. And what is Informatica Cloud Secure Agent? Uh, you have a runtime environment that runs within your network is called your secure agent or your local secure agent. And what is Informatica Cloud Hosted Agent? This is running within the premises of Informatica, like within the Informatica Cloud hosting facility. It's called a hosted agent, and that needs a separate license. Okay. So, any questions from anyone on this so far? Okay. So, moving on. Uh, uh, this is one more picture about the secure agent architecture, right? The secure agent architecture with what I've just told you, right? Where you have a user who logs into a web client, and you actually have a web client here, and you perform your design administration, your secure agent, which is running on your Windows or Linux environment, and you have your applications hosted, the legacy databases, can be Oracle, SQL Server, right? And let's say you want to move the data from Oracle to Salesforce. Okay, you can use IICS as an interface, which will help you to move the data from Oracle to Salesforce, or any other external app, cloud apps like your Marketo, Workday, AWS, Snowflake. There are a lot of you know external apps. So firewall, this is the firewall which is sitting behind the firewall is what your secure agent is all about. And as I told you, this is a multi-tenant repository. And how is the security model? The security model is designed in such a way where you have your customer, and all you need is internet access and data center infrastructure security, and you need some standards as part of your IICS platform security, where Informatica is going to provide the organization certain range of IP addresses which are supposed to be whitelisted. So what is whitelisting? That would allow the traffic, right? That would ensure there is a seamless communication. So whitelisting of IP addresses is very important, and that would be provided by IICS security, and they have their own set of IP addresses. And most importantly, this entire UI is controlled by role-based access controls, where you have some roles like an admin role, a designer role, a service consumer role. If you look at the role assignments and the privileges and permissions, now admin can do anything. He has got super access, right? He can perform the security configuration. He can run the task flows, processes, API-based executions, and he can even view the job results and all. A designer can do some mappings, tasks and task flows, right? And a service consumer is more on operator role, right? Where he can do an API-based execution and he can view the job results. So this is about role-based access controls. Any questions on this? Okay. So moving on, how do you get started? So getting started with Informatica Cloud data integration and application integration. Okay, so how do you get started? So what you need to do is you can actually enroll for a free trial account. Okay, so what you need to do is you just have to you can enroll to the free trial account by just going to your Informatica Cloud application integration modernization, right? Free trial account. Just search for it and just go with this application modernization in the cloud. Sorry, not this one. Once again, this is hyper automation. Okay, so you just have to just go for application integration free trial account, where you just have to provide your details. Just search for real-time data integration free 30-day trial, and this is a unified solution. When you enroll to this free trial account, you just have to provide your first name, last name, for example, IICS user, let's say developer, and do not have your work email. What I would recommend is provide your personal ID. Let's say if you have your test@gmail.com, do not check this box. Use my email address as my username, because you can have this username used multiple times, because this free trial account is valid only for 30 days. Okay, so for example, you want to have a username like dev1, okay, and you provide your role. It can be anything. Just you can provide your phone number and your organization. Just have something like free, and your country, your state and city, and postal code, right? Let's say I just put you know and I just put a something like a postal code here, and I just check this box. Just leave it to North America and start your free trial. When you click on start your free trial, right, you get a mail to your mail ID to enable your account. Once you enable your account, you get this interface. This interface. Let me show you this. Let me show from beginning. So what you get is you get this dm-us informatica cloud.com, and your username and your your password. You just have to reset your password once you get an activation link. Once you activate it, you get this UI with different services like API Manager, API Portal, Application Integration, Data Integration, Profiling, Data Quality, and all that, right? So the first thing what you need to do is, this is a unified console, which is the free trial account of an application integration would also have your data integration. Okay, so when you go to your administrator page, okay, this is the first time when you sign up to this free trial account, you have to download your secure agent. You need to download a secure agent and you need to install it on your Windows laptop. Okay, so by the way, this is going to be my Windows laptop. So what did I do? I have installed my local secure agent, which is up and running, right? And if you click on the local secure agent, right, there are different services as part of my local secure agent that is configured, where I have my data integration server, common integration components, OI data collector, and process server. So this is for my data integration, and this is for my process server is for my application integration. I'll tell you the differences between these two services, the data integration and application integration. So let's go one step back again, and I just want to check if everyone understood how to enroll to a free trial account. If you have any questions, please ask. Hope all of you understood how to enroll to a free trial account.
How to install this one?
Yeah, I'll tell you that. How to install it, I'll tell you that. How do you install it, and how do you configure different services? Uh, so typically, when you go to the runtime environments, right, you don't see this. This is all empty, right? So you need to click on download secure agent, and you have to copy the install token. You need to copy this install token and keep it in your notepad, right? Just copy it somewhere, and okay, you can come back here, click on download. So it is going to download your Windows 64, because I'm selecting my platform as Windows 64. It downloads my secure agent, and I need to, once it is completed, right, I need to install it. Before I install it, what I need to do, I have to make sure I create a directory, right? I need to create a directory called security. So I have a directory in my D drive. I'm not selecting by default a C drive program files because I'm keeping it separately. I created a folder called secure agent, and then I provided this path. So I was able to install it in my D drive under secure agent. So this is how my installation has been completed. I'll guide you about the installation. Okay, I'll guide you about the installation when we start the training. So this is about secure agent installation. Is this clear? So what you need to do is you don't have to worry about creating organization and organization hierarchy at the moment, because this is done at an enterprise level. When you sign up to a free trial account, when you go to my organization, right, I just gave a random name. I don't have to worry about all this because I'm in my learning, evaluation version of my trial account. Okay, I don't have to give any specific name, or I don't worry about sub organizations. This is not required at the moment. Okay, but typically when you install it, when you do it at your enterprise level, you may have to configure few things which would be part of your sub organizations and organizations. So nothing, organization is nothing but it's kind of a domain actually. Like a domain is administrative unit, which controls your entire licenses, your services, and everything, right? Like in Power Center, we have a domain which is nothing but a combination of your repository services, integration services, and different types of other services, right? Like a model repository service, or a Power Center repository service, or integration service, data integration hub, you have a lot of different services. So in IICS, we have an organization. Okay. So you have the appropriate license, install and configure secure agents and secure agent groups. What is a secure agent group? Now, secure agent group is nothing but, my group. It's kind of a grid concept. If you're in a Linux environment, you can have multiple secure agents. But if you're installing it on a Windows environment, you can have only one secure agent because it runs as a Windows service. Okay. What does it do? It runs as a Windows services. So for example, how do I know that? Now, if I just launch my services.msc, okay, you see that, there is a service that is running with the name Informatica Intelligent Cloud Services. Okay. See, this is Informatica Intelligent Cloud Services. Once you install it and once your services are up and running, you have to make sure these services are being configured with the option just in case if there is a recovery, right? You have to make sure restart the service. Just in case your laptop is in idle state or it is in hibernate or it got shut down, right? Automatically this would get started. You don't have to manually start it. So just in case of any failure, right? I'm just applying that feature here. But my Informatica Cloud Services is running as a service on my Windows laptop. Is that clear? Is that clear to all of you? Okay. So you ensure the data integration server, common integration components, process server are up and running. These are your getting started steps. Okay. So how do you know that? You need to click on the local secure agent, and it will take time. It won't be coming directly as up and running. You will see that it is starting up, and you need to go to audit log to see the phases. What are the different phases of your jobs? Because it downloads the necessary packages that are required for your services to run. For example, if I just go back to my the first page when I configured this, what happened? It created a group. It assigned a secure agent. It took time, right? It started around 7:24 a.m. Okay, if you just look at my time frame here, not exactly this one, but I'm just giving you a rough estimate about it. So it would take around 15-20 minutes for your services to be up and running because it downloads the necessary packages as part of different services like data integration server, common integration components which are common across data integration and process server, and OI data corrector. This is nothing but operational insights. Operational insights is nothing but your dashboard for your jobs that you have run with your resources, your CPU utilization, and this is going to give you the entire, kind of dashboard. Okay, something where you'll be able to see the jobs, which job has taken, how much amount of CPU, how much amount of, all different things. So let it open up and I'll explain it to you. So this is called operational insights. This is for understanding your secure agent status, and to see your alerts. You can configure alerts. You can you can have multiple things here where you have different services. You can configure alerts, infrastructure alerts, and you can look at my data integration. For example, if I click on the data integration, this is going to give me my the statistics of the jobs that I've run. How many jobs, how many connections, what are coming in warning status, which are coming in failed status, which are currently running, which are scheduled. Okay, we don't have anything right now, but this is going to give you all this. Understood? So administrator service is important for you to ensure the services are up and running. Without having these services up and running, you can't configure your connections. So the next important thing is we need to configure connections. Okay. So how do you configure connections? You have a flat file connection because I already created one for the demo purpose. I'll explain it to you one more time when we start our training sessions, how to create a connection. I have a flat file connection. I have a Oracle connection. I also have a Snowflake connection. So I have a Oracle instance running on my laptop. So this is my Oracle instance, Oracle 19, right? And also a Snowflake connection. I have a free trial account for Snowflake. So how did I get this connector? It's very important to understand. You need a connector to have a connection. Without having a connector, you can't create a connection. For example, when I click on new connection and I want to, let's say I want to add an Amazon S3 bucket, right? S3 connection. I need an S3 connection. But I have to make sure if I'm getting it in my available type. So I need to check my Amazon S3 V2. If it is available, then it comes. Okay, you have to provide all these values accordingly. If it is not part of my type, right, then I need to go to my add-on connectors. For example, Salesforce. Okay, Salesforce. Now you see that Salesforce is already given here. Salesforce is already given as part of your connector. But if it is not part of your add-on connectors, you may have to go to add-on connectors and search for something, and then you need to enable that. Okay. For example, let's say S3 bucket. S3 is already enabled. License is available. And let's say Snowflake. Snowflake is also available because I enabled the free trial account. I'm able to do it. Let's say if you want to search for something else like Databricks. See, if you look at this Databricks, it's saying contact us because it's not available as a free trial. Now this is available, Python SDK, something like that, right? And similarly, your DynamoDB, you have your Salesforce connector again. License is already available. They're giving free some of the licenses, but some are, let's say, a Tableau connector. Okay, if you want to have a Tableau connector, you can click on start your free trial. Understood? So moving on to getting started, right? Now I told you about how does a secure agent would work. Okay, I think I didn't explain this, but secure agent, how does it work is the secure agent is going to communicate to Informatica cloud through HTTPS protocol, and it performs the integration job control information in an encrypted format. So the data is not getting exchanged; it is a metadata that actually gets exchanged to your Informatica multi-tenant repository. Okay, and secure agent is going to launch the engine to execute your integration job. The data transfer happens directly from source to target. It's not staged in Informatica cloud. Okay, there is something called staging your job. So the secure agent is transmitting your logging and information about monitoring about the integration job to Informatica cloud. So this is not like a typical Power Center database, where you're storing the metadata in a repository table. This is all happening over internet, right? This is all happening over internet. So the data is getting exchanged, or the secure agent is getting transmitting the logging information and also your monitoring information of the job. Okay. Any questions from anyone? Okay. So
Yeah,
let me
Arun,
move on to
like during
yeah. Tell me.
duration, right? In case of anything challenge, right? How can we resolve? Like, can we communicate you or
I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Can you repeat that question again?
no, during secure agent installation, right? The first session is going to be the secure agent installation.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay, in case of any
Right.
challenges, suppose the first day, it may take time and some issues or challenges we face. Okay,
Yeah,
so how can
that's
we?
absolutely fine. And that's absolutely fine because we'll make sure we'll address your concerns, your issues, and I'll tell you how to make it stable also. I'll tell you about how to ensure that you are having a stable version, because my part of my course content, right, what I need to do is, as part of the week one, we would be covering all these topics, and I'll be helping you out, for the runtime environment secure agent installation also. This is part of your week one topics. Okay, the week one topics would be assisting you with the installation and making sure your secure agent is standard. It is not going down frequently. I tell you what are the steps that are needed to be done. Okay, if you're having issues, I'll guide you how to make sure the secure agent is up and running. Okay, so let's come back. Yeah, so let's come back to the last slide. I just wanted to give you a simple difference between data integration and application integration, right? You know, data integration and application integration. So the major difference between data integration, here I just highlighted this, because integration, transformation, and orchestration of data warehouses and your analytical workloads. So this is like a typical on-prem, bad jobs that we perform. When you want to have data that is loading from a source to a target, different business requirements. Whereas in application integration, it's more on the API side. Okay, API stands for Application Programming Interface. Okay, what is API? API stands for Application Programming Interface. So Informatica Cloud Application Integration is more on the integration, which can be a combination of on-premise and cloud, because it can even execute an on-premise job, but again, it is more on a real-time. Okay, real-time data between two or more applications. It's more an API centric. Whereas in data integration, you combine and analyze your static data. Okay, but in application integration, we need when the data is changing in real time. Okay, for example, in data integration, we can talk about a data to a data warehouse, or integrating and consolidating your customer data, or transition to a multi-cloud or a hybrid environment. So we need a data integration. So app integration, we have some sample use cases like syncing, legacy on-prem ERP to CRMs. Also, you can build automations between applications for different workflows for efficient. Hello, someone is asking. Any questions on this? Yeah, I mean, this is just a demo session. I'm just giving you, highlighting a few of the differences between data integration and application integration. Yes, go on. Someone is asking something.
No, no, I'm fine.
Okay, okay, fine. So let's go to the UI, and we'll do a simple job. I just want to show you how does it work. So when you get started, right? When you get started, you actually get this entire interface where when you log on to the dm-us informaticacloud.com, right? What happens is you will be redirected to this page with your username and password. Okay, you get different services like your cloud data integration, your administrator, your application integration, data profiling, data quality, and all this. And let me be clear about this. This course is going to cover data integration in the beginning, and after 4 weeks, we will start the application integration. So I'm going to cover only data integration and application integration in this course. So when you, this is how you toggle switches. You just have to right click on this and click on open a new tab, right? So this is opening your data integration. Before I go to data integration, I have to make sure my secure agent is up and running. Okay, see, you see the status is running here. The local secure agent is up and running. Okay, and I also need to configure my connections. Okay, I have my Flatpaks connection, which is already created. I have my Oracle connection, and I also have my Snowflake. Okay, I'm not much into Snowflake, but that is it's kind of beginning to me. But I started exploring Snowflake as well. But we will cover one specific scenario about Snowflake. So we'll also discuss about, how to create a Salesforce connection also at a later point of time. But Amazon S3 connection is something on a personal front, because you need to have an AWS account. So I need some more time for it, but we will create a S3 connection. So when I go to my data integration, right? So this is a dashboard. What is this? This is an entire dashboard of my runtime environments, my connections, my projects, assets, runtime environments here, any jobs that I've run, no jobs were run, any recent project and recent assets. Okay, you get the entire information here. Now, let's say if I create a sample mapping for this demo purpose, right? When you click on new, you get a new asset. All these are called assets in IICS. So when you go to a mapping, so there are different assets like task. When you click on task, you get mapping task, synchronization task, replication task, right? So when you click on mappings, you can create a mapping, maplets, task flows, and components. We'll discuss about all this in our training. So to give you a simple example, how to create a mapping, you click on mapping, create a mapping. Okay. Now let's say I have a scenario where I want to load my employee data to my Oracle database, right? Let's say employee flat file. One second. Why am I getting authentication? Just a minute. Okay. So before I create a mapping, what I need to do is I have to create a project, right? So this is where, I need to go to explore page, right? And, in the explore page, I need to go to all projects. Okay. I have to go to all projects. If you look at my all projects, there is a default project that is already assigned to you, which is called auto generated default project. But typically, in your real time, you create a project. Let's say this is your IICS training data integration. Okay, this is my project name. Click on save. I created a project called IICS training data integration. I go inside that project and then I'm going to create a folder. Click on folder. Let's say I just put the folder name as training. Okay, let's give a name as CDI training. Okay, I just give a name called CDI underscore training. Okay, so I can create my assets inside my folder. So every time when I click on new asset, new mapping, click on create mapping, right? You get this entire interface. This is called mapping canvas. This is called mapping canvas, where you have a source and target with a default shape. This is called the shape. So you just have to change the name here, m underscore employees flat file to Oracle load, right? Aura load. Click on save. This is strange. I don't know why I'm getting this authentication failure. One second. Okay. Let me click on this permissions. I logged in as my as an admin, right? So this is strange because for every release, they come up with some new things. So this is something new to me as well because I downloaded this only a few days back, the free trial account. Give me 1 minute.
Arun, if you possible, like, can you explain what are the topics he's going to cover in this session, like
Sure,
in entire course?
sure. Yeah, I'll tell you. So this is my course content. What I would be covering in this entire course. I'll be discussing about the cloud terminologies, architecture. We are going to cover everything in detail again. Navigating through the IICS interface, runtime environments, and secure agent installation, and log files. We'll discuss about how to create connections, creating Oracle, Salesforce, Flatfile, Snowflake, AWS S3 connection. I'll be guiding you all this. I'll be helping you out how to create all these connections. And then moving on to the designer transformations where, we'll be working on source properties, that includes pre-post SQL, pre-post SQL commands, processing, pre-processing, post-processing, filter, joiner, expression, all these transformations, including, aggregator, parser. There is parameters and variables, data integration, where we'll be discussing about in parameters and in out parameters. And also I'll be discussing about expression macros and dynamic linking. So how does the expression macros work, including your dynamic linking. And we'll move on to synchronization replication tasks here, where I'll be discussing about, how to create a synchronization task, how to create a replication task, what are the different steps of this, what are the different scenarios. And we'll move on to the task flows, where, we'll discuss about task flow scenarios, how to create a task flow, how to create a linear task flow with parallel path, decision steps, file listener, and invoking a web service transformation. And we'll go to hierarchical connectivity. This is very important. So hierarchical connectivity, where we'll discuss about parser, hierarchy parser, and hierarchy builder, including web services, and also REST v2 connector as part of your data integration course. Okay, and then finally we'll discuss about REST API with respect to data integration. Login activity and invoking through Postman. How do you invoke outside Informatica? How do you call a REST API with a post request or get request and all that. So that would end the course for data integration. Okay, so for someone who is interested only for data integration, can take up this course up to week 4. And if your requirement is not data application integration, you can drop off. However, I would recommend you to learn both, because these two are very important. And then I would start the cloud application integration, where I'm going to discuss about process overview and guides, and different steps actually as part of the application integration. So application integration is more on the creating different processes. What are the different process steps, and how do you create a guide, and how do you design, how do you create a service connector, app connector. There is something called service connectors and app connectors, and we'll discuss about few scenarios, and I'll also give you uh, some understanding about how do you capture audit through application integration, because I have a document which I created. I'll explain it to you in detail about that. So this would be again 2 weeks for cloud application integration. Once this completes, we'll move on to application integration. So that is the plan. Any questions?
Okay, and Arun, whatever the exercise you're going to perform, right? Is it on premises or cloud?
No. This is going to be a combination both, because I have flat files. I'll be providing you the flat files also to all of you. So what I need to do is I have my flat files. If you look at my screen, right? So I have huge amount of files here in my training folder. Okay, I have CSV files. I have different types of files here, like CSV, TXT files. Even I have something like JSON files. Okay, I have a lot of files here under my source files directory. If you look at, there are Swagger files, there are JSON files, there are XML files. So I have a different set of files here. Okay, so I'll be working on files. I'll be working on Oracle, which is my local 19C version. and also I'll be working on Salesforce. And one scenario I would cover for Snowflake, and one scenario for AWS S3 bucket for data integration. And for app integration, also, we'll be discussing about some scenarios for Salesforce for app integration. App integration is something different, that is completely more on the, where you have a different way of doing it. So this is again, as per your requirement. If you want to drop off, if you want to continue, you can continue for application integration, or if you're interested only for data integration, you can be there for the training till week 4. So week 5 and week 6 are going to be cloud application integration. Okay. So for some reasons, I don't know why I'm getting this authentication failure. This shouldn't be the case. Let's do one thing. I want to
Like, is
run
there
this.
any plan for a weekend batch, Arun?
No, actually, I'm not planning for a weekend batch. It's going to be Monday to Friday. Monday to Friday, morning 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Okay, I don't plan a weekend batch. If there is a need, probably I'll have to look at how many, students would be available over the weekend. And then accordingly, I have to plan. But at the moment, I'm planning only for Monday to Friday from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. IST.
And one more thing, Arun, I have a doubt. Like, what are the transformations are there in Informatica Power Center, right? So all these transformations are like the same way it will work in cloud, or any difference?
Yeah, all the transformations and the functionalities all derived from Power Center itself. The functionalities all derived from Power Center. The only thing is, there are the different ways to do it. How do you work on different ways to do it? And that is important to know, because cloud data integration, cloud application integration, the functionalities. This is more on the UI side. So the Power Center transformations, most of the transformations are available already in this data integration. Except few things and how to do things, there are few differences, which I'll explain it to you in the training. And again, let's go and see a quick demo. I won't take much time. Probably the data integration. I'll go to the application integration. Okay. So application integration. I'll show you this. So application integration. What we will do is we'll just invoke a simple job, create a simple process, to let's say, I want to invoke a simple process to say just hello world, right? So how do I do that? So this is where you get different processes. This is a home page where you can create a process, you can create a guide, you can create a service connector, you can create an app connection, create a process object. You can do a lot of things. Okay. So let's say if I want to call a process. Okay. Loading up. Okay. So for example, I want to create a process, right? This is a process where I want to orchestrate and define control flow logic for a business process that span cloud and on-premise. Okay, I'm clicking on create. Okay, let me give a name called process. So the moment I click on the process, I get a start and end step. Okay, I get a start and end step here. So let me give the name as process invoke hello world. Okay, just to say process invoke hello world. So let me copy this and I'll click on override API name. The same name I'm going to provide. Click on save. Okay, now to invoke a process called hello world, right? There is a start step here. You see there is a start step. In the start step, you have a start here, and this is a binding called rest or soap binding, because it is taking that protocol rest or soap binding, and you need to make sure you check this box called allow anonymous access. Okay, because this is running on the cloud server. It would require access, anonymous access. It would require a public access to run the job. So when I go to my, say, allowed groups and users are nothing but, the permissions that you set up at your administrator. When you go to input fields, you have to click on input field here. Let's say your input field is, okay, this is a test user input. Okay, I'm just giving a name as this is a use test user input. Click on save. And I go to output fields. For every input field, I also need an output field, right? So I'm going to rename this to, this is test output field. Okay, I'll just say this. And what you need is, you need different steps here. There are different steps here, like assignment step, service step, sub process, create, receive, wait. Okay, we will discuss about all this. So let's say if I drag an assignment step. So what is my assignment step, right? Assignment is, I need to assign a value to this so that I can invoke the job. So when I click on the plus icon, okay, I'm getting two fields here, which I have it in my start step. So I'm going to select my output field. This is a test output field. And you have three options here where you can assign using content, field, or formula. Let's say if I select formula, okay, I'm going to select formula, click on f(x), and let's go to functions. If I go to my strings function, and let's say I want to have a function called let's say concat function, click on add. So function concatenation is giving me argument 1 and argument 2. Okay, what is my argument 1? My argument 1 is my this one, right? I'll just give this argument, and argument 2 is, I'll put it in single quotes, this is a response to my input. Okay, just click on and save. So the output is taking the response with the concatenated function of my input and a value that I'm specifying for the process. Understood? You're able to understand this? I have a start step, and I created the input field, I created an output field, and then I have an assignment step here. Assignment step, I have a function where I'm doing a concat function of input and my response. So I need to click on publish. Why I need to click on publish? Because this API, this is called an API, right? This API has to be exposed to public, right? So I need to click on publish. So it has to be published. And then what I need to do is, I need to click on run using, right? When you click on run using, you need to provide an input here, process input in a single quotes. Okay, this is a response to my input. Okay, I'm providing a process input and saving this test input. Just give a name here, click on save, and click on run. So when you click on run, right, so this is successful execution. When I click on the successful execution, what I get is, I get a window like process invoke hello world, right? Hello world is something, I'm just giving an example of hello world. So input fields and response headers. So if I go back to my application integration, there is something called service URL and SOAP URL. Okay, there is something called, when you click on the three dots here, you get properties detail. When you click on the properties detail, you have a service URL and you also have SOAP service URL. For example, I copy this, okay, and I just paste it here. So I'm getting a response here. This is a test output field. This is a response to my input. All of you understood this? This is how it got invoked. You're able to understand this? So I know that it is going to be a difficult on the demo day itself, but we'll cover that in detail about all these things. But for some reasons, I'm not able to execute a data integration job, which I'll have to fix something, which I'll do it later. But I hope you understood about a simple process. How did we invoke a simple process? Okay. So looking forward to for this training from all of you. So if you have any questions, please reach out to the organizer and they will get it clarified from me about the course content or about the course duration. It's already given there. If you don't have it, please reach out to them. Please leave your contact numbers to them. Okay. Thank you. Any questions more? Any more questions?
Yeah, one final question. Like,
Yeah.
is it mandate who are learning this course as a fresher, like from other technology, can they,
Mm-hmm.
make through it? Like,
Oh, yeah. Yes, yes, you can make through. I mean, you can get through with all this because all you need to know is you just need to know the basics of API. How does
uh-huh.
API works? And you need to
Mm,
understand if you are from data background, if you are from data integration background, or if you are from ETL background, be it any tool, it can be Talent or let's say any other ETL tool or SSIS tool, right?
yeah,
It's easy to
I
understand.
worked in pastly on ETL, but I was into like performance engineering. Like,
Mhm.
this is what my question like.
Yeah, no problem. I'll make it simple because I'm not going to complicate things here. I'm going to make easy for all of you, and I'll be addressing all of your concerns. I mean, all of your issues. If you have anything with installation or any doubts that you have with respect to data integration and app integration, because we are covering it in detail. I'm not rushing through things. This is
Yeah,
only a demo session, but in our trainings we go through one by one in detail.
perfect. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah, sure.
sounds good. Thank you
Yep.
all. Thanks
Thank
for joining the
you.
demo session, and I look forward for all of you in our
Can
training sessions. Thank you.
can you
Yeah,
tell the list
yeah.
of
Tell me.
and are going to cover?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat it again?
No, no. Can you please share us to this list, like what are the topics
Yeah, yeah.
going to cover?
Sure, sure, sure. We'll share with you. Sure. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Thanks for joining. Bye.